Hi, it's Panda Movies here. Today, I'm going to explain the horror movie called Stung. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. Paul is employed as a server for Julia, who operates a catering enterprise. Together, they proceed to arrange for an event at the Perch estate. The pastoral realm of Mrs. Perch, a prosperous and aged lady in the state of New York, is all alive with excitement and anticipation of her yearly garden soiree, a diminutive yet intricate gathering held in a mansion at the distant estate where she dwells with her offspring, Sydney. Amid the invitees is the municipal leader, Mayor Caruthers. Regrettably, owing to unlawfully imported botanical nourishment blended with growth-stimulating agents, a regional variety of parasitic hymenopterans undergoes substantial metamorphosis, transforming into notably grander organisms. Mrs. Perch's high society revelers, hindered by the night's merrymaking, serve as the perfect quarry. The hymenopterans penetrate the anatomy of the attendees to emerge as creatures measuring an astounding 7 feet in length. Paul and Julia find themselves confronted with the arduous task of devising a strategy to thwart the gargantuan hymenopterans. Upon careful analysis, they discern that the hymenopterans propagate through their aculeus, alternatively referred to as ovipositors, wherein juvenile hymenopterans emerge from their human hosts, who invariably perish during this intricate process. Paul, Julia, Mayor Caruthers, Sydney, Mrs. Perch, and Flora seek sanctuary within the dwelling, employing barricades to shield themselves from the relentless assault. Subsequent to an automobile collision transpiring outdoors, the telephonic communication lines are rendered inoperative, effectively severing any connections with the external world. They collectively opt to sequester themselves in the subterranean level. However, whilst ensconced therein, it becomes unequivocally evident that it is already too late for Mrs. Perch, who has already incurred the sting. A hymenopteran larva violently emerges from her corporeal vessel, thereby terminating her existence. Faced with imminent peril, they hastily flee to the corridor and endeavor to secure the entry behind them. Nonetheless, the hymenopteran assails with ruthless force, thrusting its venomous aculeus through the door, impaling Flora from the rear of her cranium as the aculeus gruesomely pierces through her ocular cavity. Driven by self-preservation, Paul, Julia, Caruthers, and Sydney flee to an underground cellar. Then team up in earnest to devise a challenging rescue strategy that involves a daring escape with a food truck. Unfortunately, an unforeseen obstacle arises when Paul withdraws his vital vehicle access device, accidentally leaving him in a vast open environment. Undeterred, he ventures into a dangerous environment to retrieve his lost keys and ultimately defeats a powerful foe in the form of a hostile wasp. Unfortunately, Sydney falls victim to a venomous wasp sting, leading to a disturbing turn of events as the venom enters her body and exposes her to the horrific machinations of an approaching wasp. Temporarily subdued by the noxious influence of a malevolent insect, she becomes an unwitting pawn in a sinister game of control. Luckily, Paul and Julia join forces to subdue Sydney, break the wasp's insidious hold on her sentient conscience, and free her from the poisonous creature's clutches. In their relentless search for a way out of the maze-like residence, Paul, Julia, and Mayor Caruthers begin a circumambulatory cautious walk around the property. The group is suddenly and violently uprooted and caught in a vicious attack. Mayor Caruthers displays unmatched bravery by selflessly offering himself as a sacrifice shield, giving Paul and Julia a brief reprieve to seek safety in a different chamber. Amidst the ensuing turmoil, they valiantly combat an encroaching wasp, eliminating the threat and subsequently seizing an opportune moment to escape the perilous confines, stepping foot into the beckoning outdoors. Nevertheless, calamity strikes once again as Paul becomes an unwitting victim of the marauding wasps, abducted and carried aloft to a foreboding nest, where an unsettling revelation unfolds before his eyes. It becomes painfully apparent that the very queen that once emerged from Mrs. Perch, now ensconced in Sydney's subjugated form, maintains a sinister hold over her actions. Disturbingly, she endeavors to enforce an unthinkable fate upon Paul, coercing him to incubate and foster a wasp larva within his own being. As if an angel of salvation descends upon the scene, Julia emerges, brandishing a formidable electric saw, prepared to confront the abomination that has befallen her comrades. A decisive course of action ensues, culminating in a cataclysmic detonation that obliterates the wasp nest in an all-consuming blaze of retribution. Escaping the conflagration in their vehicle, their sense of respite is short-lived, as an emboldened and intrepid wasp, its corporeal form engulfed in flames, pursues them with relentless tenacity. In a desperate act of defense, Paul steers the vehicle toward a colossal tree, exacting a lethal collision that vanquishes the fiery adversary. However, the tumultuous impact leaves both Paul and Julia incapacitated, enveloped in unconsciousness, as the echoes of their struggle reverberate into the void. Paul awakens from his unconscious state and tries to wake Julia from her own sleep as they are surrounded by the authorities' all-encompassing presence and drawn into a scene of chaos and conflict. Positioned in the rear frame of the rescue vehicle, electrifying emotions build between them, culminating in an intimate exchange of feelings and becoming an intimate act of intimacy. Sensing her need for privacy, the wary officer closes the door to the ambulance, shielding it from prying eyes. Meanwhile, a curious officer, eager to learn more about the surprising sequence of events, approaches the front of the van, where the queen wasp is trapped in a giant tree. During the investigation, an unexplained and unforeseen incident occurs in which a giant cattle skull falls from the sky, killing the officer instantly, causing shock and dismay to the assembled staff. As the officers and paramedics gaze at the sky, the ambulance door opens, allowing Julia and Paul a surreal glimpse of an otherworldly sight. A combination of wasp and cow hybrids, iridescent cowbells hovering overhead in an eerie spectacle. The camera shot suddenly disappears into darkness, leaving humanity's fate shrouded in an impenetrable veil of uncertainty as the story ends on an eerie note of ambiguous foreboding.